For the latest information regarding the COVID-19 pandemic in Cupertino, please visit cupertino.org/coronavirus.
I'm Eric Curhey, Public Information Officer for the County of Santa Clara. In just 52 days, ballots will start mailing out for the November 3rd, 2020 presidential general election. Today, on Live with the County of Santa Clara, we have Shannon Bushey, Registrar of Voters, who's going to talk a little bit about voting amid a pandemic.
Good morning, Eric.
Thanks for being here. So before we begin, a quick note about the masks. We removed them shortly before the program in order for our dialogue to be properly translated and so everyone can understand us best. After the program, we'll be putting the masks back on. So Shannon,
Good morning.
You've been registrar here in Santa Clara County for over 5 years. For those who aren't familiar with the title, the Registrar of Voters is in charge of all elections in Santa Clara County. That's federal and state and local elections. Now, looking forward to November, could you give us a little bit of a rundown on what people can expect to see on their ballots?
Sure. Yes, there's a lot to vote on this coming November election. So, as you know, many of you know that there's President and Congress and Senate and Assembly, but even there are more contests on the ballot that include county and municipalities and school and special districts. And special districts are like water districts, for example. And these are all important races for everyone to vote on because, you know, for example, like in the school board, you're electing people who are going to be in control of the curriculum that your child is using in their school district and, you know, how their schools are run. So all of these contests, you know, are very important to get out and vote. Yeah.
All right. So voting by mail, that's a very hot topic these days. Given the pandemic, all voters in the state of California will receive a ballot in the mail.
Yeah.
However, that's not exactly new to Santa Clara County. You know, you guys were working on and adopted the Voters' Choice Act, which means people all receive, all registered voters receive a ballot in the mail, and that started with the March primary election. Can you tell us a little bit just about voting by mail in general and why the county made the switch?
Sure, yes. Voting by mail is very easy and it's very convenient. We are going to mail every voter a ballot in Santa Clara County, every registered voter that is, and included with that is a free postage paid envelope. So we encourage you to use the envelope and return your ballot. You don't have to worry about how much postage should I put on the ballot at the post office to mail it back to us. And I think part of why, you know, Santa Clara County switched to the Voters' Choice Act, or as VCA as I call it, last year the Board of Supervisors voted to enact the Voters' Choice Act because it's a much more convenient method of voting for our voters, and they get to choose, you know, when, where, and how they're going to vote. So it's very easy and very convenient and very safe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how voting has evolved. If you go back to the year 2000, most people still went to the polling places. I believe it's 4 out of 5. But then going forward to 2018 elections, and that was before everyone was getting a mail ballot, already only 20% were kind of going to the polling places. So it's going to be a little bit different, though. It was Voters' Choice Act for March, but with the pandemic, there's going to be some differences in November. Can you kind of go through those for us?
Sure. There's going to be some differences, but they're really not major differences for November. Because our county had already implemented the Voters' Choice Act in March, every person already gets a ballot in the county of Santa Clara. So one of the differences is that the vote centers will be open for 4 days, beginning October 31st, so Halloween. That's what you can all remember is Halloween. We're going to start and get out there and vote early. So from October 31st to November 3rd, we will have vote centers, approximately 100 of those open throughout the entire county. The second change is, we in election world call it postmark +3 is now postmark +17. And what that means is that any voter who is returning their ballot by mail can get it postmarked by Election Day. And if it's received within our office in the next 17 days after the election, we're able to count it and make it valid and include that in the result. So that may help if there's any issues or delays in the post office delivering ballots to us, which we haven't seen yet. So it really does help the timing for them to send us the ballots. And the third and final piece is called remote accessible vote by mail. We've had that for the primary election and other elections. And what that is was for military and overseas voters who, may not be in the area across oceans and in other countries. So they are able to access their ballot through a secure connection that we give to them to print it out. So that will now be open to all voters for Santa Clara County for this election. So those are the three top key changes for November.
All right, great. Postmark plus 17. I mean, that certainly sounds like more than 2 weeks, for the post office to get the ballots back to the registrars.
Yes.
That being said, a lot of people would rather drop their ballot off themselves, either in one of the drop boxes that you guys offer, or even in person. A lot of people, they still want to go to a polling place, a tradition, or they
Right.
like the act of going into the secret box and
Yeah.
filling it out and manually putting it in the ballot box. Can you tell us a little bit about both, the drop boxes as well as what kind of in-person voting opportunities there will be for people?
Sure. For the drop boxes, so I've been hearing a lot of talk also about the post office and delays in voting or mailing. So there's a very easy way to skip all of that to avoid any issues, potential or actual or not, with the post office by using one of our drop-off boxes. We have over 90 drop boxes already scheduled and planned for the November election, and we have vote centers which you can drop your ballot off. So our drop-off boxes are kind of like a mailbox size. They're secure, and you can drop off your ballot any one of those. And our staff directly pick those up, so they don't even go into the post office at all. So if they drop them in a drop box or at a vote center, they're just right into our hands, and it's actually just one of the easiest ways to vote.
And in person, can you kind of tell us about the process and what steps have been taken given coronavirus to make sure people are socially distanced if they do want to go vote in person?
Sure. So we are going to have approximately 100 vote centers for in-person voting. I first do want to say that the safest way to vote is to vote from home or vote from your residence. It's more convenient. And like I said, you can just drop it off at a drop box. But for those of you that may need in-person voting, because we have accessible voting machines, or maybe, as they say, the dog ate your ballot and you need a replacement ballot, you can come to any one of our vote centers, anyone throughout the county, and we will be able to provide language assistance, accessible voting, and do replacement ballots. Kind of like a full-service vote center now instead of a polling place where you could only get your one ballot type, and now you can go anywhere and vote.
All right. So yeah, November 3rd, it might sound like it's a little down the ways, but it's really not too far away. What dates would you like to remind people of before November, for voter registration deadlines or when they can expect to see a ballot arrive in the mail?
Sure. So we're going to, I would say it really begins with us mailing the county voter information guide. And that is the pamphlet, the booklet that we get as voters that has all the information about candidate statements, measures, and arguments, and impartial analysis. So we're going to begin mailing those at the end of September. And then really quick following up after that is going to be our ballots. We're going to drop nearly 1 million ballots in the mail on October 5th, 29 days before an election. So the next deadline that I think they should be aware of is, October 19th is the last day to register to vote. And if you get registered by that day, you won't have to use our conditional voter registration. So those are some of the key dates is, end of September, beginning of October, look for your pamphlet. And then after October 5th, go ahead and look for your ballot to come in the mail and make sure you're registered. But I really want to tell people now, don't wait till October to get registered. Do it now. It's really, the plan. You should make a plan, be prepared. And right now you can go to our website at any time at www.stcvote.org. And we have links to the Secretary of State's online voter registration. We give you information on how to update your registration, because if you've moved, you should go ahead and update your registration. So right now, I'd really like the voters to get prepared and be ready and have their plan to get out and vote. And Eric, you had mentioned, and I didn't address that the safety of the voters at the polling places, at the vote centers, and at our office. So we at the Registrar of Voters, we take it very seriously, the safety of our voters and of all of our staff members and volunteers that come to work at our vote centers and come to our office. So we're following all of the county safety protocols. We're distributing personal protective equipment, or PPE, masks and face shields and gloves and sanitizer for all of our staff and our volunteers. And even when you go to a vote center, which again is a safe way to vote, but again, vote by mail, at our vote centers, we will also be offering PPE, masks to our voters that may not have some. So we are asking all voters that do want to come for in-person voting to please work with us and to please help prevent any spreading of the disease and wear your mask when you come in to vote. So again, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we are very serious about the safety protocols.
Now, a lot of people do enjoy getting involved in the process. They like to volunteer at the registrar's office, and you guys usually do need quite a few seasonal volunteers. Are you looking for people to come and help out? And what are you doing to make sure that when they do come in and help out, that everything's safe?
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing that up, because yes, we're always looking for volunteers and extra help or temporary workers to work for us at both our office and at the vote center. So we hire hundreds of people, probably over 1,000 people to work at our vote center. So it's as easy as, again, going to our website, sccvote.org, and we have information on there about how to volunteer. You can also go to the County of Santa Clara's Employee Services Agency, and on their page about the job specifications and information, we have 3 different job specifications, starting with election worker, like election worker 1, election worker 2, election worker warehouse. And you can apply there to work temporarily in our office, which could be for several months, to working for just a few weeks at our vote center. So we definitely are interested in having volunteers and staff come in. And if you'd like to actually work with us at the vote centers, you can call 408-299-POLL, which is 408-299-7655. So, and just like at the vote centers with the safety protocol, we are having all of our staff members wear personal protective equipment. We have plexiglass face shields at the counters where the voters come in and talk to our staff members, and we're using social distancing and all the sanitizing protocols in the office. So we are definitely following the health and safety protocols.
All right, fantastic. We can start to wrap things up here. Are there any kind of last thoughts you'd like to share with voters, especially given, the times we're living in? They're definitely strange, and what should people consider right now?
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Eric. I want you all to think about how important voting is. People have marched for this, we have fought for this, people have died for the right to vote. So I just want to say, even no matter what has been going on in the world before with wars, and now we're in a pandemic, we still need to exercise our constitutional right. We need to get out there and we need to vote. And I say get out there and vote. You can vote from your own residence with the ballot that we mail to you. So I just really want to encourage all of you to please get prepared, make your plan, check your registration now online and make sure you're registered to vote or get it updated. And then look in the mail coming up in September, and especially in the first 2 weeks of October, for our pamphlet and for your ballot so that you can vote and vote early.
All right, wise words. Well, thank you so much for coming down, and we wish you the best of luck going up to the election. It's going to be a busy couple of months for you coming up right about now, Shannon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Eric.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up this episode of Facebook Live with Santa Clara County. Remember, we do have Spanish language broadcasts on Mondays and Wednesdays at 11, Vietnamese on Thursdays, and we'll be back on Monday. Final thought on our social media, it's going to be really hot out there this weekend. There will be cooling centers opening up throughout Santa Clara County, and if you want more information about that, be sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter feeds. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Monday.
For the latest information regarding the COVID-19 pandemic in Cupertino, please visit cupertino.org/coronavirus.